So I was thinking to myself that this would be the perfect week to do something a little bit more light, a little bit more wholesome. So why not discuss why women should not be educated in the religious context? In today's argument analysis, I'm going to be looking at Paul and Morgan versus Jessie Lee Peterson. Okay, before I do an analysis of the holy shit that is the topic of today, I would just love it if you could do me just the kindest little bit of a favor and not send any hate, harassment, bullying to any of the individuals mentioned in today's video. This is for our fun and education, entertainment and discussion. Keep it Christian and keep it clean. Alright, let's go. A quick contextualization of the debate is that the Peterson radio show, these four men are arguing for the case that women should not be educated. They are of a collective mind, and Morgan and Paul decided to react to this as a challenge posed by Jacqueline Glenn of all people. So it's pretty obvious that an assumption here is that we are talking about heteronormative relationships, and I'm not going to challenge that because this is again the fundamental assumption from which this debate is coming from. So we're just gonna take that at face value and see where that logic goes. In this video, I'm not going to do the typical thing of dismissing or arguing against Christianity at all. I am not going to dissect their specific arguments as opposed to my own arguments. What I'm going to do is analyze the arguments 1v1 in the debate here between the two different sides and the parties.
Why was it a big mistake to educate women?
Look at them. They're already like conceited and think that they know better without that stuff. And then when they get the education, and by the way, education is like geared towards girls now.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if it's meant to be like that.
It's a girl education, and it's weak.
Okay. So his argument here is that there is a presumption that education system as it stands, as he experienced it, reinforces those beliefs from women that they do in fact know more and are superior and overpowers the men. I think that's his point.
Just getting ready for this video, I did watch a few other of his videos, and yeah, I mean, this is very, very normal.
So he's just this bold, this.
I just straight up love how Morgan just cannot. She's just not dealing with this.
Yeah,
it seems
it
like
was a mistake.
Well, I noticed that women are like leading. They're like leading in education. Like they're the teachers. They're like really involved in that world. But they seem to be they seem to be through education allowing all sorts of just craziness. Like
Education becoming ridiculous now.
Yeah, boy. Okay, it seems like the premise here is that women are already prone to being power hungry or want to lead when they should not be doing that, and the current social structures in place, i.e. education, is further reinforcing that kind of idea. So the reason why it's quote-unquote problematic or wrong from their perspective is that there is this worrisome trait within women and social structures further enhance it.
To me, when I listened to that, I was like, oh wow, so like you guys wouldn't even approve of me homeschooling my children.
That's what I'm wondering.
You don't think that I should teach children.
Super valid point brought up here by Morgan. Essentially, she's saying that, okay, well, if there's something wrong with the education system, then surely you would want an alternative for the children. So what do you want? Do you want them to be homeschooled by the mother? But then how would the mother be able to homeschool them if she herself is not educated? So you want her to be uneducated, but then have the responsibility of educating the children because the schooling system cannot educate them. So what here is your solution to this problem of the education system and the role of the woman in all of this?
you want to get educated in a sense, right? Like
Yeah.
we all want to get into science or whatever. You kind of have to have the love and logic of a man to kind of protect from yourself from, the temptation of education.
So now they're saying that women, if they kind of start becoming educated, they're very quickly not going to be able to handle it and become proud. Is that what I'm picking up on?
I feel like, yeah, that's kind of what he's saying. And also just like, to me, it sounded like he was saying, say a woman is cooking or cleaning and she decides, I want want to learn more about blah, blah, blah. She needs a man in her life who's going to love her and lead her and tell her, no, you don't need to learn about that. Like, that's kind of what I took.
This deviation from the original point is very interesting because now it seems like there are some conditions under which education might be allowed within their worldview or their argument. They shifted the goalpost by first saying, okay, no education, because the education system as a whole seems to not function or work or be in favor of their specific ideologies and beliefs. But now they would allow the idea of further education, but if it's under the supervision of a man. My follow-up question would be, would this man have to be themselves educated within the field in which this person, this woman is trying to educate herself, or is it just simply a man in the household? I.e., does this person need to be a professor male teaching a student female, or is it just, your husband Bob who, I don't know, doesn't have any kind of authority within the field that you're studying?
All of the stuff that they're saying that I do not agree with, I can see kind of, bear with me, where they're coming from. In that, we do have a lot of women who, you guys know, I fully believe in submitting to your husband. I believe that the husband leads the house. I believe that my husband is my leader, and that God is his leader. And yes, we each have our own relationships with the Lord. And Paul and I both believe that men and women are equal in God's eyes, like equally loved by the Lord. But the roles of men and women are very different.
So here Morgan is clarifying where they do actually agree, where the common ground does lie, and that is that there is a distinction between the roles and the functions and the contributions between men and women within this godly relationship. However, she doesn't exactly clarify what it is, just that both are valid or valuable. So I guess if I had to infer, her critique of these men would rather be their interpretation of the role of the woman and not the fact that there is a distinction between the roles of men and women.
But we have had floods of subscribers come and say that we're all those things that you just mentioned. We are genuinely horrible people. So we're okay with saying that we don't feel good about them, but then we're getting people that really don't like us.
Self-awareness, we love to see it.
And I'm like, okay, you guys are leaving out the Proverbs 31 woman, where it talks about she goes about her business, she does business dealings, she's a shrewd dealer, she's making money. Like, she's obviously a learned woman. You're not mentioning that. You're not mentioning the multiple instances of women that are holding certain titles of leadership. In the New Testament, we had Phoebe, who was known as a deacon, Romans 16:1. You had Priscilla along with her husband. They were business owners in Corinth who gave Paul lodging. I believe it referred to her as a teacher. In Joel 2, back in the Old Testament, it says that God would pour out his spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters would prophesy. These four men are taking it and going completely one-sided, and in my opinion, not using scripture to back it up. We at least do our best to use scripture as our foundation.
Bringing the receipts. Yes, love to see it. This is an actual valid argument because they do both agree on the fact that the Bible is the main source of knowledge and truth, and that is the premise, right? So since that is the common ground, you are allowed to use the Bible in this specific debate, in this specific context. So for that reason, using an actual example is a valid evidence, it is a valid point, and yes, we give out W's in this joint.
In order to create and or maintain the type of civilization that the people have come to know and love, women are entirely incapable of doing so.
Okay, so whether or not me agree with regards to that crazy statement, the fact that it's out of nowhere, there's no context, no receipts, and it's new information. It's not a premise that they agreed on. There's no quoting of the Bible. There's just like debate tactics. That's just a no-go. You can't just drop facts, quote unquote, without any kind of receipts and use that as a point from which to further another point.
Guys, how did you come up with any of this? What church did you go to? What did your dad teach you? This is just disturbing.
Here I have to disagree with Morgan because she is establishing ground rules for the definition of Christianity when there is none in existence. The only thing that all Christians agree on is the Bible itself. So that is a valid starting point from which to go, and evidence and receipts from which you can draw upon to make any kind of arguments. By saying that your mother raised you wrong because your interpretation of the godly word or God or the Bible is wrong is an invalid argument. I get her frustration, girl. I feel you, but an invalid point because she's assuming that absolutely every version of Christianity is her version of Christianity. That's a no-go, my dear.
So yeah, it was a massive mistake to educate women.
I noticed that everything the women get involved with, it turned to hell.
Oh yeah? So how were you born, you know? Did you fall from your dad? Was that your origin story? Fuck me.
I'm trying to see what is going on here. And I'm thinking there is probably he's still focused on the women being educated, going up through the college systems, and then they're off in the workforce, nonstop, leaving the family life, neglecting kids. And so he's boiling it down to just this one inflammatory statement that there's no way he believes that for.
Nice. Paul is pointing out here a straw man argument. That's exactly what's happening here. JC is reducing the entire point that he's trying to make, a very nuanced, big discussion. He's reducing all of it to one singular point, which is women bad, men good. That's it. And that you kind of need to get to that conclusion in order to make the argument that he's trying to make, and that is that women should not be educated. That's it. I mean, the other guys clearly earlier tried to introduce more nuance by at least suggesting the idea that under the guidance of a man somehow explore other other forms of education, but he's trying to reduce it.
So that's why these men who are marrying these so-called educated women, they're turning their husbands into housewives.
Okay, so that's a very interesting statement. So let's pretend that he's completely right, that the new education system is turning men into housewives. He does not continue to explain how that is a problem. Why does everybody not want to be a housewife? I mean, staying at home all day, cooking food, watching the movies, listening to YouTube. Why would you not want to be the housewife? He fails to explain how that is a problem. I did not expect to enjoy this video as much as I did. I found it pretty wholesome. It's the first time I've checked out their channel, and I will definitely leave a link below. Please go check them out. And if you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more of this, please let me know in any way, shape, or form. And other than that, I've been a Thot, and these are my opinions. Peace.
Bye, sisters.